Hi, my name is Michelle, and this is my daughter Colleen. She's encouraging me to make a video of my dream that I had, that I knew it was a dream from God. I had a dream that me and my husband and his family were sitting in the living room, and we were sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden I heard people running outside. They were running outside and screaming, saying, "Run faster, run faster." So I looked out the window and I said, I need to find out what's going on. I went outside. And when I was opening the door to go outside, my husband said, "No, stay inside." And I said, "No, I'm going to find out if we need to leave and run too." So my husband was all scared, and his family was all scared. So, but what I did is I went downstairs and I ran outside, and I stopped the man and said, what's everybody running for? What are you guys afraid of?" And the man said, if you know what's good for you and your family, you would take your family and run with us. And I said, "No, I'm not gonna. I want to find out what's going on. I'm not running until I know why do I need to run." And the man says, "Well, suit yourself. If you want to die, then you die." And I said, "Well, okay, that's fine." I go, "But I want to know why everybody is running." And so the other people were running. Everybody was running in one direction, and then all of a sudden I saw like 3 or 4 people behind. Like there was really, like, I hate to say this, fat people that couldn't run. There was the end of the group, and I tried to stop one of the women. "Why you guys running?" And she's like, let's go," and she tried to grab me, and I says, "No." And so when I turned around and I looked back where the people was running from, I saw 2 creatures that was half man and half bull and half man and half rhino. The rhino and half man and half rhino ran up to me and saying that, "Oh, here goes another one." And I said, "Another one of what?" And I wasn't scared. And he goes, "Another one of you." And I said, I don't understand. I go, "Another one what?" And he said, "Another Christian." And I said, how do you know I'm a Christian?" And he said, "Because you got a blue light around you. We can't touch you." And I said, "Okay." I says, "But what?" I said, "Why are you scaring these people? These people are running. Why are you scared?" And he said, he says, "If you know what's good for you," he goes, "don't pray for them." And I got shocked. And I go, "What do you mean, don't pray for them?" And he says, "You got power in your prayer." And I was still confused. I still was confused. And I said, "What do you mean by power in my prayer?" And he goes, "You really look stupider than as you look." And I said, "Okay, but that doesn't answer my question." I go, "Power in my prayer," and I go, "I don't understand. Explain yourself." And he said, "Every time you pray for the people, God listens and gives you what you want. Whatever you're praying for, you have power. Whatever you're praying for, God listens and gives it because you have a relationship with Him." And he goes, "Not all Christians have that blue light." He says the ones who have fellowship with God and that has a relationship with God has power in their prayer. And he says, "And you're one of them." And I said, "I still don't understand." And I was like, in my dream, I was so confused. I don't know why I was confused. And the half man, half bull said, "Enough." He says, "Move out the way and give me those people." I said, "What people? They already left." He goes, "You really look stupid." He goes, "You are really stupid." He goes, "Look behind you." And I turned around and I looked. All the people that was running, like hundreds and thousands of them, somehow they were behind me and watching everything. And I was shocked. And I looked at him, and then I turned around and I said, "Leave them alone." And he goes, And then he yelled and goes, ah! He goes, what did I say? And I said, what did I say? I said, leave these people alone. I said, leave them alone. You will not touch them, and you will not mess with these people. God has a purpose for every single one of them. And he said, what did I say? You cannot pray for the people. I said, do not pray for the people. So when he went to go grab me, it shocked his hand. I had like a shield around me, and it burnt his hand. And he grabbed his hand because he tried to grab me. And when he tried to grab me, his whole hand started disintegrating like he didn't have a hand anymore. That he was going to hit me. And then he said, I told you, you have power in your prayer. And then I woke up. I had that dream. I had many dreams. But that one, it was like I felt discouraged at one time because I was praying for people. And I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere in my prayer. And then I asked God, I want you to speak to me about my praying for people. Am I interceder, like praying for people? I go, what is my gift? And I had that dream. And it's like you don't, like God points everybody to do something. You know, he has a plan for every single one of us, even if it's just at home and you have children and you're at home and you're praying for people. Even you're praying in the church. You're praying for the people. Because I remember I was in church and I was praying and then I felt it in my soul, in my heart. Like I could feel it. Pray for my people. They're all here hurting. They've been hurt so bad. And they feel like there's no healing. But there's healing in this prayer. So he says, pray for my people. I felt that. And a lot of people who love God get hurt a lot. Because the hardest people to lead is God's people. And so the pastor does need us to help her pray for the people. I mean, she's got the power too, but God pointing certain people to pray at home. Some people are meant to stay home and just pray for people in their marriages, because there's so many divorces and rape and killing and people kidnapping children and all that. And so even if you got children, you're a stay-home mom, that you could be praying. You can be praying and having a fellowship with God, but interceding in people. Sometimes you'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and can't go back to sleep. It's because God wants you to pray for a certain situation about somebody's life that really needs it. And they feel like they are alone and nobody loves them. So even if you're a stay-home mom, or if you're a nurse or a doctor, or even a trash pickup people, it does not matter. God has appointed you to do something. And it could be interceding and praying for people, or it could just be for... It could be, you could have a gift of helping people or interceding for people, praying. Or you could be a gift of a prophecy and teaching and all that. You could be, God points who he's gonna use, even if you are a stay-at-home mom. And a lot of stay-at-home moms feel like they're nothing, they're not doing nothing, they're not taking part of the world, but you are, and you can. If you think that God can't use you because you stay home, you can do a lot while you're at home. So that's my testimony.